Does this corrupt monetary system give you a whack to the head or a poke in the eye? Call Patriot Trading Group at 800-951-0592. That's 800-951-0592. Don't be a stooge. Buy gold and silver today.
Hey, Larry Elder here. Thank you for listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, hosted by the Liberty Revolt and KHNC.
What's up, guys? Good morning. How are you doing today? Bucky Dillon here, host of the morning show right here on 1360 KHNC.
Growing up on a farm in South Dakota, it didn't take me long to figure out
things
that
are
farmer
going
reaps what he sows.
Wild. Hey, guys. So anyways, I titled today's episode Progressive as a Fashion Trend. What do I mean by that? I think so much of what we're seeing going on in our society today is not necessarily as much of a political movement at its core as it actually is a fashion trend. So this is the idea that I'm going to be exploring today, and I hope that you join me in the conversation. The call-in number is 970-587-5171, and you can call in. You can have a conversation with me. I love to kick back and hear about what's going on in your guys' lives and give you an update on what's going on with the day. So as far as an update on the day, here in northern Colorado, it is going to be cloudy all day. It is going to be wet, and it is going to continue getting wetter until it snows in April. I was joking around earlier this year when I said that I was dreaming of a white Easter. Well, we're well beyond Easter, and we're still having snowstorms in Colorado. So hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. If you're washing windows or painting, it looks like you're out of luck. It's going to start raining a little bit around 12, and that rain is going to get colder until about 5 p.m. when it turns to snow, and there is 100% chance that it's going to snow on us. So that's just what it is. On this day in history, Abraham Lincoln died. He was shot on the 14th and he died on the 15th. And this is the same day that Edward Smith, captain of the Titanic, went down with the ship. Now, some at KHNC have suggested that the sinking of the Titanic was a plot by pro-private central bank, pro-Federal Reserve, wealthy interests, and that apparently J.P. Morgan financed the building of the Titanic and had a ticket and then backed out at the last second. Apparently, all of the wealthy individuals who were against the establishment of the Federal Reserve central private bank in the United States were on the Titanic, and he sank it. And the very next year, the Federal Reserve was born. And then the income tax was born. Was the sinking of the Titanic a ploy to establish an income tax and a private central bank in the United States? I don't know. That's what listen to the Front Range News Hour right here on KHNC from 3 to 4, and they might do an episode on that. And hey, Miss Miller, if you're interested in learning more about that, I can certainly do a show about that. I have all the research. I just haven't put it together and done a show on it yet. So if you'd like me to do a show on that, hell yeah, I'll do it. By the way, the call-in number 970-587-5171. Call in. Have a conversation with me. The topic of today's talk is progressive as a fashion trend, because I think that's at the heart of it what it really is. I think about where my generation has gone, and so many of the people that I've seen move to the far left aren't actually engaged in politics anymore beyond, well, they watch Comedy Central at night, and so they see a little bit of Stephen Colbert, or who's the other guy, the South African guy, Trevor Noah. They see a little Trevor Noah at night, and they know deep down in their gut that Orange Man bad, right? But if you were actually to try to pin him down on any of the actual policy issues or cultural movements that they believe they're in favor of, I don't think most of them really are. I think a lot of people are just doing it because it's trendy, it's fashionable, and that they can get, social clout from being on the right team. Before I jump too far into that, I want to say, guys, check out 1360khnc.com/shop. We have CBD products. Our products are 100% local, 100% lab tested, lab certified, grown right here in Colorado, processed right here in Colorado. When I say processed, I really should use the word purified. We're not talking about processed with chemicals, purified to be the highest quality CBD products you can get at a great price. In fact, our partnership with My Kind CBD is so good for us that they make less money when they sell it through us than when they sell it through themselves. They lose money. We sell My Kind CBD products cheaper than My Kind sells CBD products. So go to the website 1360khnc.com/shop. You can also see all of my previous episodes on the podcast page, as well as some of the other really interesting shows on this station. The Front Range News Hour is great. If you're interested in economics, the magazine, yeah. If you're interested in economics and monetary policy, definitely check out Joe Jaquint's show. He owns the radio station and sells gold and silver, but he can really break down what's going on in all the various markets, and he's been doing that for about 20 to 30 years. Yeah, let me go grab a copy of that magazine. I'll give you a look at that this morning. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out.
Do you need your fireplace cleaned? Not sure if your fireplace is working right, or not sure if the fireplace is efficient? Call Abundant Flame at 970-966-0217 to schedule your appointment. We service all brands of gas fireplaces, freestanding and built-ins, pellet stoves, wood fireplaces, and electric fireplaces. Visit us at Abundant-Flame or call 970-966-0217.
Back in the USSR.
Socialism, like the ancient ideas from which it springs, confuses the distinction between government and society. As a result, every time we object to a thing being done by government, the socialists conclude we object to it being done at all. We disapprove of state education, and the socialists say we are opposed to any education. Socialism. Frederick Bastiat, The Law.
Back in the USSR.
This is Sam Shook, Navy Vet and Medicare Specialist. I just want to thank the KHNC listeners for their support and trust in me as their Medicare specialist. If you are currently on Plan F, we are in a window of opportunity that can save you a lot of money towards your monthly premium. Please contact me at 970-413-4939. If you are getting into Medicare soon or are already enrolled and have questions, please call me at 970-413-4939. Again, thanks KHNC listeners.
Hey man, pass the bottle over and take a couple of hits off the My Kind CBD. Get your CBD by going to 1360khnc.com and click on the shopping button, man.
Silly Jamaican. There's no THC in this product. It's certified THC free. Just go to the website, 1360khnc.com, click the shop.
欢迎收听 KHNC 广播电台 Bucky Dillon 早安 Show， 大家的早安广播，谢谢。
So yes, the newsletter is done, and I can mail it out. I haven't quite exactly figured out what the mailing out process looks like. And really, I just want to cover the cost and get this content out there to the people. This is one of the many ways that myself and KHNC are striving to get more involved in our community and to take personal responsibility for what we want to see happen out in the world. And so at the heart of this newsletter lies a couple things. Number one, quality content, things that I think would be interesting to people regardless of political affiliation. The first article that I put in here was explaining what does it mean to be a patriot. And I kind of explored the idea of American patriotism in a world where it seems that you actually have to be a rebel to be a patriot, and how does that actually play out in the real world? How do you support the United States military and support veterans while also condemning the excesses of a military-industrial complex? How do you support our founding governing principles while condemn the actions of our government, right? And so many other things. I explored how to replace our two-party system, and all of it's just essentially based on ideas, right? I don't say that I necessarily have the answers. I say that I've done a bunch of research on ways that we could reform and fortify our electoral process to make sure that our representatives are more representative. And then I have Patriot of the Month. Our community who are either doing tough, thankless jobs or people who are, just giving their time back to society in a way that improves the lives of everyone. So I've got a story about someone I know who's done that. Joe Jaquin, like I was saying, he does the show on economics and monetary policy, and talks about the markets and how you can protect your savings and protect your wealth. He talks about investing. He did an article here on monthly economic trends called Behind the Fake Data and Inflation. I've got Larry Elder's syndicated column in here. I've got a list of our Colorado representatives and their contact information when our city council members are meeting for Larimer County, for Weld County, for Loveland. I've got our show lineup, and then I have my personal story of where I started out in politics and where I've come. So if that's something that you may be interested in, yeah, I can send it out. I just have to check the cost of shipping and cover the price of printing. I'd say Venmo me. Venmo $10 to me. My Venmo name is Liberty Revolt Media. So if you just look up at Liberty Revolt Media and send me a message of hey, this is for the newsletter with an address, I'll shoot it out there. I'm pretty sure it doesn't cost that much to ship a magazine, right? We'll see. We'll see about it. I wanna talk about politics, this political movement as a fashion trend. What do I mean? I mean, we all have seen these signs in people's yards, right? Black Lives Matter. Science is real. Water is life. No human is illegal. All of these things. And I would venture to say 70 to 80% of those people have no idea what any of that means. These are all semantically overloaded terms What semantically overloaded means is essentially, it means that term has a variety of different meanings, and so it doesn't really, it's semantically overloaded. When one person says Black Lives Matter, it could have a totally different meaning to them as when somebody else says Black Lives Matter. Some people, they don't really understand that this is an actual private organization that is exploiting some legitimate and some not so legitimate narratives to enrich themselves and elect Democrats. What's funny to me is to hear Democrats rail against systemic racism when they have literally been a political monopoly in every single majority Black community in the United States for 70 years. And so to hear them say, we need to deal with systemic racism, they are the system in every single one of these communities. And it doesn't make any sense. And then you look into how counterproductive that political monopoly has been in these communities and how much damage it's done. But it's an openly Marxist organization that hasn't helped a single Black American. In my opinion, it's made racism worse. Right, violent crime has gone up 30-something% as an average in the United States, and 100% of that is in these cities where this movement and these riots are so strong. And that's what's so sad to see what's going on right now with the riots. I mean, one of the core issues we have is that these communities are not getting the kind of investments that they need. And part of that is the crime rate. No business wants to invest in that community. There's a slew of businesses like GameStop and a bunch of other businesses that just recovered from being locked down, from being robbed and looted earlier this last summer, and now they're getting robbed and looted again. Do you think that these businesses are going to continue investing in these communities? I mean, there's no opportunity zone policy that you could pass to make people think, oh yeah, I'm going to pour my life savings into opening up a business in a city that has a crime rate like that of a third world country that is going up. Violent crime rates in these democratic cities, that's what they are. They're Democrat run cities where Democrats have had a political monopoly for 70 years, the crime rates are going up to levels that they were in like the 1960s. They're horrendous. And it's so funny that Joe Biden is running on backpedaling. His whole political platform was undoing his entire political history, right? People wonder, well, gosh, why is it that the crime rate in Black communities went down from 1994 till 2015 when we had the Ferguson riots? Oh, right. It was Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill, but now he's running away from that as quickly as he possibly can. And Democrats are now running on something like abolish all police. That's what Rashida Tlaib said. And I don't like to argue against the most radical and straw man examples of their agenda, but this really is their agenda: defund the police, this, that, and the other. Yeah, let's see how far that gets you guys. When the murder rate is going up, and 30% as an average across the country, but that 30% doesn't represent the country. Crime rates aren't shooting up in Ohio, right? They're shooting up specifically in these cities where these narratives have taken hold, and it's resulting in more death. It's the number one cause of death for Black Americans, particularly young Black men, is homicide at the hands of violent criminals in their own communities. So how exactly is pulling the police out going to protect Black lives? There's something like 8,000 decent Black Americans are killed every single year at the hands of murderers, not at the hands of cops, at the hands of murderers. And yeah, when cops do things wrong, I'm with you guys, right? When the George Floyd thing happened, I shared a post of Derek Chauvin kneeling on the neck of Lady Liberty, because at the evidence that I had seen at the time, that's what it looked like. Now we're in trial for that, and it's a complicated issue. Obviously, I'm a libertarian guy. There's nothing more offensive to libertarian values than state-sponsored police tyranny, right? That is like the most anti-libertarian thing out there. And so to say that you disagree with an openly Marxist Black Lives Matter corporation, that's what it is. That somehow translates into you are an advocate of state-sponsored gun violence or state-sponsored police tyranny. It's ridiculous. But you know, this whole narrative that is fostering divisive identity politics to produce a victim mentality and a learned helplessness by deliberately distorting historical grievances so that they can peddle socialist revolutionary activism and raise money that is spent solely on enriching the founders of the movement and electing Democrats, which have had they've had total control and they've made things worse. BLM has also facilitated millions of dollars, billions of dollars worth of property damage, specifically in Black communities, and facilitated a drastic rise in violent crime rates. And all of this produces more tension between racial groups, more tension between police and civilians. It produces more grievance, more poverty, more crime, more racism, more emotional despair, and richer communists, I guess. You know, and so these signs, right? People just don't understand what these signs actually mean. Women's rights are human rights. That's another one you see on these yard signs, and I suppose that is a shorthand for abortion rights, right? Women's rights are. I mean, I think that's what they're trying to say. But that isn't very faithful to the human rights of the unborn child. Love is love. Love is love, which, you know, I understand what they're trying to get at, right? People shouldn't be criminalized. They should have equal rights for you know, being gay. Nobody cares. Be gay, be lesbian. I'm an advocate of gay marriage, and I know that I have a lot of more traditional religious listeners, and I know that I have a lot of more traditional religious people in my, you know, who kind of associate with my views on things more broadly. But I'm pretty libertarian on that. I do think we should have a certain level of squeamishness when it comes down to celebrating transgender transitioning in children. I think that goes way too far. But you know, I don't care. I don't care if somebody's trans, if somebody's gay, if somebody's lesbian, if somebody's bi. It's not even on my radar. I don't care. It literally has nothing to do with the kind of person they are or whatever. And to try to lump all those people together into the same group, LGBTQIRSMAGA R2D2, it just doesn't. Eventually, if they keep expanding this, well, first off, I gotta say, not all of those groups line up. You can't say that like a traditional gay guy is the same as a trans person is the same as a non-binary person. Like, I know several gay people who aren't cool with the gender transitioning children, right? And there's a lot of, I mean, how do you square that? If you keep adding letters to that acronym, like what they're trying to do with these identity politics games, eventually they're going to end up where we are, because the ultimate minority is the individual. That's why if you're going to have affirmative action programs, it should be based on circumstance, not gender identity or racial identity, right? Because you can't judge someone's life experiences or even their mindset based on their skin color or what they like to do with their genitals. You're listening to the Bucky Dillon Show.
This is Rick Rodriguez. Christ said, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. Join me every Sunday, 9 to 11 a.m. for the Olive Tree and Lampstand Ministry Radio Church on the new 1360 KHNC.
COVID has stopped Triangle Cross Ranch from conducting any fundraisers since March of 2020. Current state government issues has stopped our ability to have fundraisers until March 2021. We need financial donations to get through the rest of the year. Any financial support is welcome, or just send $1 US silver dollar a month to support our Christian mission. Triangle Cross Ranch, 36049 County Road 51, P.O. Box 727, Gailton, Colorado, 80622.
Is the driveway made of fruit leather, or has the apple stopped appling? If your half of a 100-foot cottonwood tree just needs a haircut, call Affordable Tree Service North at 970-568-6898. We have saved many trees everyone else said was dead. Show-offs! Hey, you're not in this one either. From fire mitigation, bushes, trees to bees, that's 568-6898. God bless us!
Hi, this is Mike Morris, owner of Warriors Revolution Tactical in Longmont. At Warriors Revolution, we have the largest selection of tactical gear and ammo in northern Colorado. But what many people may not know is that we now sell firearms. And even despite the recent run on firearms and ammunition, we have plenty of product in the store, including ARs, AKs, Glocks, SIGs, HK, and more. And don't forget all the bulk ammunition at the best prices in town. Need to do a private firearms transfer? We can do that too. I am a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and our team is made up of veterans and security experts, not a bunch of salesmen. Our team is trained and fought with much of the actual equipment we sell. And one thing you should know is that we support the foundations and principles this great country was founded upon. So if you need tactical gear, ammo, firearms, AR parts or upgrades, and even survival accessories, stop by and visit us on Ken Pratt Boulevard and Bowen Street in Longmont, or visit warriorsrevolution.com. That's warriorsrevolution.com.
You can buy gold just about anywhere in the world from all kinds of different dealers. So why do you use the Patriot Trading Group?
20 years of service, just like that. A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau, just like that. Lowest prices, just like that. No solicitation, just like that. Buying or selling, just like that.
For all your gold and silver needs, call the Patriot Trading Group at 800-951-0592, just like that.
Be careful when you're dealing with a conspiracy theorist. You may end up with a whole lot more truth than you're used to handling. This has been a public service announcement from KHNC.
The Bucky Dillon Show is a Liberty Revolt Media production. www.libertyrevoltmedia.com.
So eventually, if they keep going with this, they're going to end up where conservatives and libertarians have already been, right? Everybody's a unique individual, and we can't judge people based on superficial characteristics about their identity. You judge people based on their actions and their words. So, and in my opinion, we need to judge people with grace. Because isn't that the whole point in free speech, is that we can actually disagree and have a conversation with about it? And for that, you can't have a victim mentality. You can't buy into this grievance peddling social Marxism ideology, because it actually takes a certain level of social trust and social fortitude, personal fortitude, to have these kinds of tough conversations and really find the truth. But we can't just assume that anyone who disagrees with us is disagreeing because they are bought into some kind of ill motivation. So not all love is equal, right? Pedophilia, bestiality, though, that's abusive. Right? That's That's evil stuff, regardless of any genuine adoration that an adult may have for a child. Yeah, I'm sure the pedophile is legitimately attracted to a 7-year-old. That's still evil, right? So not all love is equal. And no human is illegal, right? I mean, this on its face, it doesn't even need an explanation. On its face, that's just stupid. No human is illegal, right? That sounds like someone who has never lived in the real world and realized that we have laws for a reason. Crime does exist. So, and science is real. And this I assume they're referring to climate change or maybe COVID, alarmism, and so much of these agendas. Just remember that all of these social agendas are geared towards alarmism, because alarmism makes these agendas the most profitable for the financial powers that be, right? For the super wealthy that dominate our media, they don't get nearly enough traction by saying, "Oh yeah, climate change is no big deal. COVID's no big deal. You know, you're good. You're good." Right? They have to make it out to be the most extraordinary crisis possible all the time. Racism is a public health crisis. Climate change is not climate change, it's climate emergency. All of these things, they have to, and it's on both sides. It's on both sides, right? Because unless you're listening to independent media like myself, which I'm not doing this for ratings. I am so willing to commit fratricide. In fact, I have a new show here on KHNC that I'll be doing Tuesdays from noon to 1, and perhaps I'll set it up to live stream where I'm going to be able to take all of our KHNC hosts and our audience and cycle through them, just taking the opposing position and arguing them. So I am going to try to make a strong case for single payer government run healthcare. I'm going to try to make a case for complete and total gun confiscation. And then I'm going to try to make a case for infinite lockdowns anytime we have any kind of sickness ever. I'm going to try to make the case to all of the left wing ideas pushed to their extreme. I'm going to play the role of an anarcho-communist and lobby for straight up Chinese style communism against every single one of our radio hosts, and even worse than that, because at least China has a freer market than we do. I'm going to argue for top-down control of our economy and all of the essential industries as well. Not because I believe in any of these things, but because I believe that, number one, it'll make good radio, and number two, it'll strengthen all of us, because if you understand the opposing argument, you can better formulate your own. And you really aren't equipped to go out in the world and persuade anyone if you cannot debate. So, I'm doing it as an intellectual exercise. I had a caller during the break who wants to get down to the real agenda of what's going on. He's implying that there is a deeper and more powerful cabal of individuals who are trying to steer society into a gosh, for lack of a better term, a new world order where they can dictate top-down control. And how does this violence and how do these left-wing ideas and even some of the right-wing ideas play into this? What is really at the heart and at the core of things? And my goodness, man, I gotta say, I am looking at the world through a keyhole. Around this time, gosh, it's only been about 4 years that I've even started studying politics at all. So all of these things are things that I just recently started exploring. But I would say, for as long as there have been human beings, there have been people who get together and conspire to establish a monopoly in their personal influence or their personal brand, their personal business, right? As long as there have been human beings, there have been wealthy and powerful or well-connected people trying to shape and restructure society. And we've all heard of these things, and in a way, we're almost destined to get there eventually, right? Like imagine human beings actually do colonize Mars in our lifetime. What is that colony going to look like? Well, it's going to be a top-down authority, and it's going to be a high-tech surveillance state from day one. Part of their problem is that their technology to implement this kind of control over human beings and the destiny of humankind, they haven't had the technology to master that. By the time we get to another planet, we will have the technology, and there won't be this huge population of free people on the earth that you have to somehow conspire into controlling. It'll be a totally controlled society from the moment the first person gets there. And as we grow larger and larger, I imagine we are going to look more like China. And it's going to be tough. I mean, gosh, sometimes I feel like what we do here at this radio station by trying to deep dive into those issues is really just it's an act of martyrdom. It may end up just getting us in trouble and making no difference whatsoever. Guys, you're listening to the Bucky Dillon Show. If you want to continue to feel hopeless and depressed, keep on listening.
Are you paying too much for your home, life, or auto insurance? It only takes 10 minutes to find out. Hi, this is Kevin Bowles with Badger Insurance Advisors. Choosing insurance plans can be difficult. That's why I make it easy. I'll make the calls, compare the plans and prices, and find you the insurance plan that fits your needs. Best of all, my help is at no cost to you. Call me today at 303-359-1799 or visit badgerinsuranceadvisors.com. Let me find the right insurance for you.
Hi, folks. I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham & Associates, LLC. I know it must seem like there's a million realtors out there making all kinds of promises. Want to hear my big marketing promise? I promise honest and fair dealings with all those I do business with. That may sound old-fashioned, and it is not very catchy, but it is true. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Farm, land, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings. When you work with my team, we'll get the right property for you and be upfront and honest with you every step of the way. Over the years, my clients have told me just that fact alone separates us from others in the industry. If you are considering buying or selling real estate, call me, James Morgan, at 720-203-0731 or visit my website at coloradoproperties.online. No catchy slogan, just a client-first, honest real estate experience. Hit it, girls.
Keep listening to the American Freedom Network.
Hi, I'm Brad Keselowski, driver number 2, Discount Tire Ford Mustang. If there's one thing I've learned after years on the track, it's that having the right amount of pressure in your tires can make or break performance. Properly inflated tires are essential to the health of your car and to keep you driving safely. Check your tire pressure once a month, especially before road trips, or stop by your neighborhood tire retailer for help.
A message from the U.S. Tire Manufacturers Association.
Great minds think alike. Thank you for listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, hosted by the Liberty Revolt. Join me, Larry Elder, today at 5 on 1360 KHNC. Now back to Bucky Dillon.
So yeah, there really is a deep agenda kind of going on beneath all of these things, and it is about power. It is about control, and the freedoms of established in the United States Constitution, and the limitations put on government are really the biggest roadblock in their way. But it seems to me that these super wealthy financial interests really have commandeered so much of our government and our intelligence agencies. I would not be surprised at all. And I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm saying I would not be surprised if what happened on January 6th was fully orchestrated by the intelligence agencies and the powers that be as an excuse to begin confiscating guns, and walling off the political establishment from the reaches of regular folk. I really would not be surprised. Remember when there was that controversy with the Michigan governor, and they said that there was right-wing groups trying to kidnap the Michigan governor? Well, it didn't come out till later that the FBI informant who had these people arrested was the one who was orchestrating the whole thing. He literally found all of the people, got them together in a group and said, "Hey guys, let's do this thing." And then informed on them, and they all got arrested. And then the media were able to run on this right-wing extremism platform. And of course, you didn't hear that story after the fact, but that's what happened. And again, right, today is the day that the Titanic sank in 1912, and today is the day that Abraham Lincoln finally died. Both of those people who were on the Titanic were the wealthiest people who were against the establishment of a private central bank in the United States. And Abraham Lincoln, obviously he fought in the Civil War. A lot of people say it was about slavery, and I think yes, it was to a degree about slavery, but I mean they openly said there was wider forces going on than that. A lot of people don't realize that Russia was threatening European forces from sending troops, because all of Europe, France and Britain and all these other countries, wanted to come exploit the Civil War in the U.S. to reestablish their political dominance in the region. And you had central banking financial interests in funding the South, right? So people often don't realize that part of the reason Abraham Lincoln got shot was some say because of central bankers. Abraham Lincoln had issued the Lincoln Greenback, which was an alternative to the American currency that the bankers had a foothold in, and they didn't like that. He used that to fund the war effort. And this is interesting because people don't think about financial warfare as much as they should, because really, if you can destroy a country's money, then you can destroy that country. You don't have to fire a bullet. Sun Tzu, who was the author of The Art of War, wrote that the highest form of warfare is not to ever engage in physical battle, but to actually destroy the opponent's country from within. And one way to do that is through monetary policy. Did you know that during the Revolutionary War, Britain engaged in a massive counterfeit campaign to mass produce counterfeit colonial script? Colonial script was the currency that was being used by the American colonies. And I believe it was Benjamin Franklin. He said that was the Britain trying to remove America's unique and independent debt-free currency was the prime reason for the Revolutionary War. And Britain engaged in a counterfeit campaign to make that money worthless during the Revolutionary War. They were shipping over boatloads of counterfeit colonial script to devalue the colonial dollar so that it would become worthless and it would crush the Revolutionary War effort. So the money really is at the heart of so many of these issues. But man, I have gotten way off. I have hardly spoken about how I think that these progressive ideas are just as much a fashion trend as it is actually a political movement. Because I think most of the progressives you talk to on the street don't actually know what any of these policies mean. They certainly don't understand the ramifications of these policies. They're kind of falling for the pseudo virtuous sloganeering of the left, and it's mostly a way to like establish yourself in the in group, right? That's why it's super popular with, say, high school girls. I don't know if you guys have talked to high school white girls recently. And I'm not saying that I spend a bunch of time hanging out with white high school girls, but I have a young sister and I have a young brother who are both in high school, and they tell me all the time, and of course I have other friends, and they tell me that these things are becoming what, right? Like in the 80s you had big hair, right? And fishnets and mismatched colored Converse. And in the 70s you had bell bottoms and this, that. And in the 60s you had the flowers, the flowers in your hair and round glasses and like the hippie movement and this, that, and the other. And yeah, all of them have had some kind of political ideology intertwined with them. But I think so many of these progressive trends are first and foremost a fashion trend than it is a just as much as it is a political movement. And that's where we need to fight back. Why do conservatives lose? Because all right, guys, I'm going to say it. Most of the conservatives I know, most of the libertarians I know are total dweebs. And then right? Like, they're total dorks. Like I like Ben Shapiro. He's a smart guy, but man, if we were in school, I would give that guy a wedgie in like 3 seconds. I would absolutely not sit at the lunch table with him. And you know, I like that guy. So
hey, it's Larry Elder. Thank you for listening to me every weekday from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on 1360 KHNC, the roar of the Rockies. Do you own a business in northern Colorado or surrounding areas? Are you looking to reach a conservative, family-based, loyal audience which could grow your business? Well, take my advice and just call 970-587-5003 or email on the air at 1360khnc.com and tell them Larry sent you.
Why does it seem America is slowly sinking? Whose fault is it? It's not the Obamas or the Clintons. It's not Republicans or Democrats. It's not corporations, the military, or foreign countries. It's the Federal Reserve, a central banking system made up of private bankers that corrupt and control virtually all aspects of the world's money supply and the economy. All of the major problems of the world can be traced to the Federal Reserve and central banks of other countries. Hi, I'm Jason with the Colorado Front Range News Hour. Catch my show with co-host Brian here on KHNC 3 to 4, Monday through Friday. We sell gold and silver, the best way to protect your hard-earned money. Call 800-951-0592 and keep those blood-sucking bankers out of your wallet.
Do you need your fireplace cleaned? Not sure if your fireplace is working right or not sure if the fireplace is efficient? Call Abundant Flame at 970-966-0217 to schedule your appointment. We service all brands of gas fireplaces, freestanding and built-ins, pellet stoves, wood fireplaces, and electric fireplaces. Visit us at Abundant-Flame or call 970-966-0217.
all of the music for the Bucky Dillon Morning Show was provided by my band, Beer for Bears. Find us on social media by looking for Beer for Bears. That's right, guys. You can find my personal band on social media, Beer for Bears. We like to jam. Guys, think about it. Think about it. Next time you hear someone going on and on and on and on about climate change, just for a quick reality check on how much science actually permeates their perspective, ask them, what is the second law of thermodynamics? And that should that should quickly help you to realize that most of the people who are the strongest proponents of these ideas actually have no idea about the science they're touting. They don't know anything about it, right? Ask them about multi-millennia ocean currents, and that's currents that change the temperature of the water because they take like thousands of years to actually circulate from the bottom of the ocean to the top of the ocean, where they transfer temperatures from, say, a deep ocean rift, where the temperatures are super hot by the time they get to the top, right? I mean, all of these things actually play a role in the actual science. The Earth is a tiny ball spinning through the galaxy, which is spinning through the universe. And we pass through dust clouds that refract the sun's light, and so less sunlight, less UV rays actually hit the Earth when we're passing through one of these dust clouds. And I mean, seriously, there are so many variables involved in these things, and we don't know what the heck we're talking about. And I'm not saying that I don't think that digging out a bunch of carbon from the ground and burning it and emitting it into the air doesn't have an effect on our temperature's climate, on our temperature, on our planet's temperature. I'm sure it does, but the alarmism of COVID, the alarmism of the environmental energy, the alarmism of the left. Remember, everything for the left is an emergency and therefore a justification for total control. And this is what I was just telling my friend in the comment section on the YouTube channel. He was talking about how they don't want these health insurance to be affordable. They want it. The wealthy don't worry about the cost because they're wealthy, and the poor don't worry about the cost because they're subsidized by the middle class taxpayers. And they actually want these policies to be unsustainable because then eventually it will be an economic emergency, and then they can use that as a justification to declare total failure and then to take total control. And so they know that illegal immigration, millions coming in every year. We're on track to get 2 million illegal immigrants this year, and Border Patrol agents think that honestly they catch 1 in 4. So they know that this is unsustainable. They know that it disproportionately disadvantages the very same so-called victim groups that they claim to represent. They don't care. They don't want it to be sustainable. They want the system to crash so that they can declare total failure and take total control. They know that making the government pay for people's health care is financially unsustainable. They know that if you go to a restaurant and you tell everyone sitting at every table that, oh, guys, guess what? Everybody else is going to pay for it. They're all going to order the steak and lobster. They're all going to get the $90 dessert. And when the bill comes due, they're all going to have to pay for it, and they just won't have enough money, right? It doesn't do anything it doesn't make the price cheaper to make somebody else pay for it. It just means that they pass that bill out to everyone, and nobody did the math in the first place to be, oh, crap, how much am I really paying for this? Anyways, guys, you're listening to the Bucky Dillon Show. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great day.
By now, you know how good CBD can be for you. But here's some things CBD can't help you with. Those annoying calls about your car's warranty expiring, gay frogs, or racist cows, climate coaches, or that undying devotion to Alex Jones. This has been a friendly reminder from your friends at 1360 KHNC, the roar of the Rockies.
Have you always wanted to be on the radio? Do you have strong opinions or ideas that you think should be heard? Why not host your own radio show right here on the Roar of the Rockies? You'll be on the same station as Brian Kilmeade, Michael Savage, and Alex Jones. You can brand yourself as an expert in your industry and grow your business. Imagine telling your potential clients you have your own radio show. That gives you instant credibility. For more information, call us at 970-587-5